Hello. Outside here today, enjoying my comfortable weather. We've got a little bit warm down here today. And I've got some notes that I wanted to go over and thinking about one particular thought. And the thought has to do with feeling worthy, believing, and being successful. How do they relate to each other? I've been told by many people as I went through my careers that I was successful, but as one of the things happened to me is that I just don't feel successful. Is that, yeah, I did a job, I did what I was supposed to do, and it was just a job, get it done. Many people asked or challenged as to was it really done, some of these first things that were done and all this good stuff in my career, and I'd have to tell them, yes, I was the first one to do things. And they've been written about in books, all this good stuff and some of the things that I've accomplished. But again, it was just, I didn't feel successful. How many of you felt this way? How many of you just believe it's just a job and that I really am not accomplishing anything for me? And that's a big thing right there. You're accomplishing everything for everyone else, but not for yourself. And that's where I was at, and this is the reason why I didn't feel that I was successful. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tom Vaughn, and I've been an entrepreneur. I've got into this business for a little while. I started back when I was really young, around the age of 13, thinking about entrepreneurship. Did some things like cleaning fish, mowing grass and everything like that, and then came up and tried college and found out it wasn't for me, went into the military, came out of there, and I had a whole different idea of how things should be after going through the military for 10 years. And got out into the IT world, and then next was to get into education world, and finally back into, guess where, the entrepreneur world. So I'm back there again. Things I want to talk about is feeling worthy and believing, failure and success. Okay? When we think of failure, we're talking about we're not talking about a task, because everyone fails. I mean, let's face it. There's a task that you go out to do and you're going to fail. I mean, there's a strong possibility of it. But that's not what we're talking about. What we're doing is talking about you failing yourself. Okay? And I'm sure many of us have failed many tasks, so you know what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about life itself. That's where I'm at. Many people compare themselves to people who succeed. And when you look at other people, you say, well, they're very successful. They got what they wanted and everything like that. I still didn't have what I felt that I wanted. But then again, I'm not sure what it was that I wanted. Many people look at themselves as failures because they are different. And some of the ways that people are different could be that they feel like they're ugly. They nothing's worthwhile to them. People make changes such as adding tattoos, changing hair color, move in and out of particular places just to get that notoriety, get that feeling that they're successful, but it still doesn't make them successful. And that's where I was at. I didn't get any tattoos, I didn't change the color of my hair, it just stayed natural and done what it's done. So we can't say too much about that. But none of that stuff made a difference. Okay? Because it is the strength and weaknesses that make each person different. So looking at that. During my career, like I said before, I did not feel successful. Okay, I've got some notes here, and they're just blowing around here in the wind here that we've got. So one of the things I had to do, it took me quite a while, many years, to understand the success I say I have had. Many people fail and they give you a reason for it. I can give you all kinds of reasons. We can sit here and make a list of them. We can go over it and just give you all kinds of reasons why people are failing. Okay? But the main thing is there's two simple reasons. One is that they do not really know what they want, which I think all of us can relate to that. The other is that if they know what they want, they do not believe they are worthy, or they don't know how to get there, to get what they want. Let's take one at a time and discuss it. I'll begin with the latter, not feeling worthy. The noun definition of worthy, and I'm going to read it, is a person notable or important in a particular sphere. The adjective definition of worthy is having or showing the qualities or abilities that merit recognition in specified way. So you have two definitions there about what we're talking about feeling worthy. But in yourself, do you feel worthy of having it? Do you feel like you're notable, you're important? How do you feel about yourself? If you discuss this topic, you're not feeling worthy, many will say it stems from what's called low self-esteem. I never thought that I had low self-esteem or lacked confidence or anything on that order. I didn't feel negative about my self-image. I looked in a mirror, what do you see? How do you feel about yourself? Do you see yourself as unattractive, undesirable? Do you see yourself as stupid or unintelligent? I had no on all those answers. Do you feel unhappy or unhealthy? Well, I didn't feel real happy, but I was doing my job. I was getting money into the house, taking care of the family, doing what needs to be done there. So yeah, I was okay. Some things you may have to look at it. This has all has to do with how you picture yourself or how others picture you. The way I saw myself was that I was doing a job that anyone could do to keep my job. One of the things that was going on there is that I believed that I had to get the job done no matter what, and no matter what it personally cost. There was times that I put in hours that start early in the morning, like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, go to 6 or 7 o'clock at night, or even later. There was times that I came in on a Friday morning and didn't go home to Saturday night, just working on different things to get things up and working. A lot of things paid for, a lot of things took into consideration there. How I felt this way is that not feeling like it was just a job, not feeling successful. It was just a fact, and it's something that's easy to do. I mean, you just sit there and you don't have to go and do anything else. You don't have to worry about anything else. You just take it as a fact of knowledge. And there are many things that can suffer due to this type of attitude. One has to do with your family. They become distant. One of the reasons why they become distant, you're never there. And when you are there, you're thinking about the work that you need to do and have to be done and all this good stuff. And, in my case, I was on call 24/7. Your home, it becomes neglected. It's left to your family to take care of. Third thing is your friends. The friends that you have and you acquire are the ones that you work with. The only thing you have in common are the things you're working on. So when you're working on particular projects, what happens there is these people come in, they become your friends. When the projects are over, everyone goes about their own way. Sometimes you stay in contact, but most of the time you don't. So friendship is only there temporarily. This list can go on endlessly. We can sit here and discuss it, but there's no point. But you get the idea of what I'm talking about. The good news is that I changed the view of myself. My view is better, and as a result, my attitude about many things has improved as we talk about this. I still have the belief that anyone can do anything. And while I was teaching in school, in college, I would explain to my students that you can do it. Don't let anyone ever tell you you can't do it, because you can. You may not be able to do it as quick and as good and everything like that as everyone else, but you can do it. As long as you believe you can do it, everything is great. Okay, so I had that belief. That belief will never change. However, I did learn to trust others. And by what I mean here is that I learned to trust others that were more suited or have better qualifications to do the job. They could do it faster, they could do it better, they were more certified, they had more knowledge in that area. So I didn't go out there and have to learn and reinvent the wheel. So I learned to do that. That was a big thing, because I believed that I had to do everything to get everything done. I'm now comfortable just to say no, let someone else do it, even if I can do it. Some things that I'm good at, I still let other people do it because I just don't have the time, or guess what? I really don't want to do it. So the question becomes, how did I make this change? And I can't not contribute it to myself making this change. It was with two friends. One that worked for me. We worked together, then I became the boss and she was working for me, which was great. And she wasn't afraid to tell me just how things are every once in a while, which is sometimes I needed that. That's just kind of funny. So she kept reminding me that my thoughts of myself had to change, as well as how and what I ranked as important. So she was constantly hounding me about that. And, eventually I did make a few changes, but nothing that really made a whole lot of difference. But my changes came to fruition as I was teaching in college one day, and this young lady came into my class, and she and I hit it off as a friend, and she learned some stuff, went on her merry way to do some other things, and eventually graduated and went. And her and I stayed in contact for quite a while, but she didn't go away. She saw something in me that she liked. Okay. Eventually, she became my wife, which is a pretty cool thing. We've been together now for 20 years. And the other lady, who was my friend, who kept telling me that I needed to make changes, she and I have been friends for 25 years, or maybe more. Something to talk about is that these changes over me did not occur overnight. It took many years, and changes are still occurring. I still have to accept a lot of things. I still have to go through a lot of things in my mind to get things squared away and still improve. Something along the way that I learned is that you have to have a belief. You have to believe in yourself. Every day you have to work at what you want. This means you have to explicitly and definitively know what you want. So I know what I want, and that was a better life, an improvement of life, enjoyment with people that I truly like and love, and everything like this, and the whole just there. And you have to maintain this belief. You can do it. You have to believe in yourself. Okay, the first thing I had to do, living in the IT world, one of the things beyond a shadow of doubt, change occurs all the time. So I had to learn and accept that change could occur to me, and that it needed to occur to me. So once I accepted that change had to occur to me, I had to come up with an idea of what exactly had to change and what needed improvement, and how do I go about making this change. Like I said, I've got notes here that I'm still going over. First, I had to learn about that the self-image can consist of a few types. One is from how an individual sees oneself. Another one is how others see that individual. Another one is how an individual perceives others see them. So thinking about those three types of self-image, you've got to figure out which one is the most important to you. Do you really care about what people think about you? Are you concerned? The main thing that I focused on was, how do I feel about myself? And what do I need to do there? And it's still the most important thing to me. I honestly say that I don't really care how people think about me. I like for them to think that I'm a great guy and everything like that. That'd be fantastic. But again, first of all, I had to accept me as me and like what I do and how I am and everything like that. And that was the main important thing. So I had to get to know me. Now, how did I go about doing that? I had some steps that I followed, some little directions that I came around with, and I had to start small. It couldn't be something great, big thing that I changed and everything will be fantastic. It just doesn't happen that way. And it doesn't happen overnight. So I would start making small changes. And I would take one step at a time. This is a very important step, is to do it small. Because what you can do with that is that with small ones, is that you can take time to appreciate what you're doing. Okay, and that's a big thing. Appreciate what you're doing and believe in that you're doing right. The second thing that I took as a step that I needed to do and get in place is that I'm my worst critic. Okay, so one of the things I had to learn to do is say no to myself. Then, okay, I have to stop doing this. I have to allow someone else to do it and be that way. And like I said, I was sometimes my own worst enemy, and I would forget that I needed to say no, and I'd go ahead and do it anyway. But I got myself in line, and like I said, it took time and took practice and started doing things. So I'm at first step, doing it small, Second step is I'm letting other people do stuff. I'm not doing it myself. I had to learn, again, like we talked at the beginning, is the self-appreciation. I had to learn how to do self-appreciation and take a break to do that. And sometimes it's a couple minutes, sometimes it's, a great one. I used to think that I was a perfectionist. And this is another thing you have to overcome. So this is step 4, is that I had to overcome that you can't be perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. That's a big important thing to learn. That perfection does not exist. So I had to learn and accept to go for good enough. That's good enough. Okay? The main thing that I did is I strived for excellence. Not necessarily perfection, but I strived for excellence. And I asked myself one question. Did I do the best that I could do? And as long as I could answer honestly that I did, then I was happy for it. It was good enough. The step 5 is that I had to stop comparing myself to others. The only person you need to compare yourself to is yourself. And that's honestly the truth right there. I want to say compare yourself to yourself. Compare you to yourself. Look at what you did the day before, and then look at what you did today and ask yourself, did I improve? If so, then I'm on the right track. If not, what did I do wrong? And how can I make it better? And then do it again. So the only one you need to compare yourself to is you. Another thing we had to think about, remember when I was working with different people and things like this and working on different projects back in the back, is that I worked with many people. They came and they go. And some of these people were on the negative side, some people were on the positive side. And one of the things I had to learn to do is give up those negative people. You don't need to have them around you. You want to have positive people. You want to have people that's going to support you. Just like my wife. I mean, she supports me unbelievably. Just like my friend, who I've been friends with for 25 years. She supports me, and her husband supports me. It's just all those people are positive. I've got other friends that have been developing and didn't know they were good friends till we got together and started talking, and we each talk with each other. We each keep up with each other as to what's going on. Not every day. It may be a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe even a month that we may go by, but we touch base and see how everyone's going. And like I said, the last thing that I had to understand is there's going to be haters out there. People are going to hate what you're doing. They're going to hate about what you're changing, how you're changing, and things like that. Guess what? Don't worry about it. Who cares? The only one you have to care about is you. So it's time to bring this thing to a closure. Many years have passed. I'm not going to tell you how many years. Just know it's more than, as you can see, the numbers I've given you before is 20, 25. So there's quite a few years in there, and there's even more than that. I've done a lot of self-improvement by reading, doing courses, and surrounding myself with supportive and positive people. I'm still surrounding myself with positive and supportive people. I'm still reading, and I'm still taking courses, even at the age I am today. I will never change because my goal is to improve. My goal is to get better. I want to be the person I want to be. Sounds kind of corny, doesn't it? But I want to be what I want to be. Anyway, the way I think about myself has improved considerably. I know that I've had a lot of success. I mean, when I look back in some of the things that I've done and what I've accomplished, it's unbelievable. I was great in the military. I was great in the IT field. I mean, I did things that no one else had done. I was the first to do many things in the IT field, and other people followed, which I didn't think much of. But now I'm looking back at how successful that I really was, and I go, when you think about that, it's quite interesting. And now I'm looking at where I'm at today in the education field, where I did that and how successful I was. I became a program director of all things, which is, like department head. Wow, that's quite interesting over the IT department of all things in a university. So I've done some good things. I feel worthy of what I have accomplished throughout my different careers. It's, I feel worthy of them now. Where before I just thought it was a job. And I think about all my students that went through, and they're actually keeping in touch with me, which is quite interesting. I get to follow their career paths and what they're doing, and a lot of those still have some of the statements and sayings that I had, and they use them with their families. I have a lot of supportive people around me, but the most one that I want to say that's extremely supportive is my wife. This is Tom Vaughn. Have a wonderful day, and one of the things you need to do is to think of yourself. Understand that you are worthy. Have a great day. Talk with you later. Take care now.